Fractional indices. Fractional indices means that the power is a fraction. Okay, so let's try an example. This fractional indices is rule number 5 and 6. Example, 49 to power of a half. The clue is in the question. The 2, it's implying that you should look for two numbers, same numbers. When multiplied together, we get 49. So 7 times 7 to power a half. But 7 and 7 are the same base and their powers are 1. When we add them together, we get 2. So we get 7 squared is to power of a half. And that equals, we need to multiply the power rule number 7. We need to multiply the two powers, the inner power and the outer power. We need to multiply them together. So that will be 7 2 times a half, which will become 7 2 over 2, which is 2 times 1 divided by 2. And that will become 7 to power of 1, which is 7. Or you could use the rule number 5, which says that 49 to power a half equals root 49 of 2. So square root of 49, and square root of 49 is 7. Actual fact is plus 7 and minus 7. Whenever you do square root, it's usually plus 7 and minus 7, because minus 7 times minus 7 is 49. 7 times 7 is 49. But in this case, you may be just looking for 7. So the magnitude is 7. Magnitude means size. So we're just looking for 7. We're not looking for the sign of positive or negative. Let's try another example. 4 over 25 to power a half. Again, this is fractional indices because the power is fraction. And rule number 5 and 6 apply. There's a clue in the question. The bottom or the denominator of the fraction tells you the clue. In this case, those numbers, you may be able to multiply them. Two numbers you can multiply together to get 4, and two numbers you can multiply together to get 25. So let's do that. Well, 2 times 2, or 2 to power 1 times 2 to power 1 over 5 times 5, 5 to power 1 times 5 to power 1, all to the power of a half. And that means that this is 2 to power of 2 when we add it together, over, when we add the powers together, 5 to power of 2 times a half. Okay, the power at the top and bottom, 2 is common in terms of power. We can actually take it out. So that meant that you're going to have 2 over 5. We take out the power of 2, which is common to both of them. You can go back the other way as well. So in this case, and then we have to multiply that by a half. That was there in the first place. And therefore, you're going to get 2 over 5 2 over 2, because 2 times 1 is 2 over 2. And you're going to get 2 over 5 to power of 1, and that gives you 2 over 5. You could do the same question by just going straight for the rule number 5, which is 4 over 25 to power of a half is square root of 4 over 25 to 2 to power root of 2, and that will be 2 over 5. In fact, remember, it's always plus or minus 2. But maybe because in this case we're just looking for the positive value, so we can just write 2 over 5. It only depends on the questions. You have to read the questions carefully. So that's the other way that you could do it. Now let's try another example. 27 to power of 1/3. As you can see, the clue is in the question. The power, the denominator of the power is telling you the clue. A number, you can multiply it itself by 3 times, and then you get 27. Well, 3 times 3 times 3 to power 1/3 will give us 27. Well, 3 times 3 times 3 will give us 27. Obviously, the power is 1, 1, 1. So when we add them, it will be 3 cubed to power 1/3. Now, we need to multiply the two powers together, rule number 7. So that will be 3 to power 3 times 1/3. And that will be 3 to power 3 over 3. 3 over 3 is 1. So that just be 3 to power 1, which is 3. Otherwise, you could do it by saying 27 to power 1/3 is 3 cube root 27, and the answer is just 3. To the left that we've just done, it's a proof that this is how you get your 3. Here's another question to do. Again, relatively easy. The clue is in the denominator of the fraction. It says 3. That 3 is telling you that look at those numbers in the bracket. There's a number you can multiply itself 3 times and you get 64. Ignore the minus for a bit, and then there's a number you can multiply itself 3 times and you get 125. And that number is going to be, for 64, is going to be, well, if I do minus 4 times minus 4 times minus 4, I will get minus 64, because minus 4 times minus 4 is plus 16. 16 times minus 4 is minus 64. So those are the 3 numbers, and they all have power of 1, 1, 1 for the numerator, and at the denominator, that's a plus, so it's just 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125, and they all have power 1, 1, 1. That's rule number 8. 8 to power 1 equals A. And then if I put the fractional index on it, so which is 1/3. Now I have by, so if I add the power, because the base is the same, so that will be minus 4 to power of 3. You should really put in a bracket, divided by 5 to power of 3, all into a power of 1/3. Inside the bracket, the power of 3 is common to both denominator and numerator, so we can take it out of the bracket. So that will become minus 4 over 5 to power of 3. And then we times it by the fraction that was there before. Don't forget the 4 is still got 1 power, and 5 is still got 1 power. And therefore, 3 times 1/3 is 3 over 3. So I get minus 4 over 5 to power 3 over 3. And that will become minus 4 to power, minus 4 over 5 to power 1, which is minus 4 over 5. That's the answer. Yes, you could do it straight away using rule number 5 by going for minus 64 over 125 cube root 3, which is minus 4 over 5. Right, that's a simple example. Again, you might be confused by the fact that minus 8 is to power 1/3. But remember, whenever you have a minus in front of a number, it's usually better to put it into a bracket and then do your calculations that way. Again, the 3 is telling you a story, and the story is, because I'm a fraction of 1/3, the 3 says, look at the number in the bracket. That number, there's a number you can multiply itself 3 times, basically. And then you get, not times 3, but 3 times. And then you get minus 8. So that number, if I can work it out, is actually minus 2 times minus 2 times minus 2. So I'll multiply minus 2 by itself 3 times. And then I'll put it into brackets, and I'll put 1/3. So the 3 is telling us what to do. In this case, minus 2 times minus 2 is minus 4. It's plus 4, because minus times minus is plus. And then 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. So that's correct. But they all have the power of a half, 1, power of 1, power of 1. And therefore, you add the power, because the base is minus 2. They all have the same base of minus 2. And we always add the power when they have the same base, and we're multiplying them together. Rule number 3 to your right. And therefore, so I'm going to take out minus 2, because they're all the same, and put it to power of 3, and then have my fraction there, because I just add the power of minus 2, minus 2, minus 2. And therefore, I get minus 2. I'm going to take that 3, I'm going to apply rule number 7. I'm going to multiply the 3 by 1/3. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the 3 out. So that'll be 3 times 1/3. That's what I'm doing. And then that will become minus 2 to power of 3 over 3. And that will become minus 2 to the power of 1. And the answer is minus 2. Remember, the minus is in front of the 2, not to the power of minus 1. So don't get that confused. you could have done the same thing by basically applying the cube root, which is minus 8 cube root 3. That's rule number 5. And that automatically will give you, well, let me simplify it to be honest. 3 cube root minus 2 times minus 2 times minus 2. That's how you get, because there's 3 of them in that cube root, and so you only need one of those, and that will give you your answer. So the answer is minus 2. Because it's minus 2 times minus 2 is plus 4. 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. So one of them is to be your answer in terms of cube root. Here's another question. 8 over 27 to power 2 over 3. In this case, the clue again is in the 3. Remember, the denominator is giving you the clue. Look at the numbers in the bracket. Can you multiply them? Is there a number you can multiply by itself 3 times to get 8? Yes, there is. So you can do, okay, 2 times 2 times 2. And for the denominator, it's 3 times 3 times 3. Right. So you just do that. Now, let me simplify it. So it will be 2 to the power of 3 over 3 to the power of 3. That's good. Now, 2 to the power of 3, 2 over 3 as fraction. Now I need to take 3, because in the bracket, the power is 3 at the top and at the bottom, denominator. So why don't we take that 3 out, the common power? We take it out. So that will be 2 over 3. I'm applying rule number 7 now. I'm taking the power out, so I'm getting 3, and then I'm timesing it by the fraction power. So that will be 2 over 3. In this case, 3 times 2 over 3 is 3 times 2, 6, and 6 divided by 3. That's what that is, because there's 3 over 1 here. So you just multiply. When you're multiplying fraction, you multiply numerator by numerator, and then you multiply denominator by denominator. So I'm going to get 2 over 3, and that will be 6 over 3. Or you can cancel out the 3, so you don't have to multiply the powers, to be honest. You can cancel out the 3. And so you're going to get 2 over 3 to power 2. Yes, remember, you could cancel out the 3, so you don't have to multiply the 3. Actually, the clue is expecting you to be able to cancel the 3 to keep it easy for you. So therefore, you're going to get, now I need to open up the bracket. I've got the 2 over 3 to power 2, so I need to open up the bracket. But remember, the 2 still have a power of 1, and the 3 still have a power of 1. So I'm going to multiply. So when I open the bracket, I'll be multiplying 2 times 1. So there's a 2 to the power of 2. That's 2 times, I'm multiplying the powers with the power of the bracket. And then I'll multiply the denominator, which has a power of 1, by the 2 again as well from the outside coming in. So that will be 2. So let me just put it this way, 2 times 1 and 2 times 1. So that will become 2 to the power of 2 over 3 to the power of 2, which is 4 over 9. So the answer is 4 over 9. You could do it in a fast way if you know what you're doing. You know 1/3 is a cube root. So if I'm applying the rules, rule number 6, 1/3 means cube root of 8, so that would be 2. and the cube root of 27 is 3, and obviously 2 to the power of 2 because 1/3 is gone now. And then 2 to the power of 2 is 4, and 3 to the power of 2 is 9. So that's a quick way of doing that. Applying the rule number 6. But the showing your work, it's quite good if you can show your work so you get more marks. Okay, this is another question, very similar to what we did earlier, except that the power is to -2/3. Okay, so what we can do is basically apply the rule number 2, because A in this case in number 2 is 8/27 and N is 2/3. So I'm just going to apply that rule number 2, which will become, or rule number 1 by the way, which will become 1/8/27 to power 2/3. And we just done that. 8/27 to power 2/3 we got was 4/9. Right. So 1 divided by 4/9. So what we then do is, because we can turn the divide into fraction, into multiplication, so that will become 1 times 9/4. So we flip the bottom, and that's what you get when you turn the divide into times. You flip the denominator, and that will become 9/4. So that's the answer to that one. Okay, let's try this one. Again, let's apply rule number 1. So that will be 1/32 to 2 to the power 5 over 32 to power 2/5. That's what that is by applying rule number 1. So that's a negative power and a positive power. The clue is in the 5, always the denominator of the fraction. It's saying 32 can be written by a number that we multiply itself 5 times and we get 32. And that number is 2. So you get 2. So that'll be 1/2 times 2, 4, times 2, 8, times 2, 16, times 2, 32. All right, and then we have 2 to the power of 5 at the bottom there, which meant that 1/2 to the power of 5, sorry, 1/2 to the power of 5, and then 2 to the power of 2/5 as the power fraction. In this case, we bring the power 5 out, so you're going to get 1/2 5 times 2/5, and the 5 cancel out. The 5 will cancel out. 5 on the top of the numerator fraction cancel the 5 at the bottom of the denominator fraction, and you're going to be left with 1/2 to the power of 2, and that'll be 1/4, and that will be your answer.